And your morning time is 8:14. And it's time for Island Tea. Good morning, Candy. How are you doing?
I'm good. Good morning. I heard, was that Uncle Mick you were playing?
Yeah, with the jazz brass.
Nice.
Yeah, that's just
Like,
some.
It's
That's
weird.
just some of just some of the good music. Yeah.
More and more, like, I'm discovering that these were songs, done by him. Because it's like I would have known the songs, but like, you
didn't
never really
realize,
know
yeah.
who's condolences to his family and friends and
What I
just
have heard.
everyone who had any contact with him. I've met him a couple times. Always sweet, polite,
Yeah,
funny guy.
nice guy.
We've just been having a horrible half of the year. June has
I
had
always-
quite a lot of deaths.
I always remember one time as a kid, right? It was during Carnival, and I was. There used to be a restaurant, by Baker's Corner there, and the corner by the roundabout.
Mm-hmm.
There used to be a restaurant, roughly in that area where Eastern Benevolent Society is. You know where that is? Right in there. Used to be a big restaurant, big spacious place, and
You mean like a kind of built-up place?
yeah, that building used to be
Yeah.
a restaurant. You have all sorts of things.
Oh, wow.
It had belonged to Mr. Prokop, I know, at the time, but I know it was rented out for a restaurant, and it was a big, spacious restaurant, and had like booths and everything. You know, the booths that you see in movies and so on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the rest. Imagine.
Your age is showing because I have no clue what you're talking about.
No, you never been. You never been to the States and been to a diner.
No, I'm talking about the restaurant.
Oh no, well, it's funny. In a lot of ways, Sankits has kind of gone backward because we used to have a lot of the stuff that we see. A lot of the stuff that
like
we
those
see.
soda pop type restaurants with the booths.
Yes,
and
we used to have stuff like that. Back then, 80s and so on, and I guess maybe 70s, and even before that, because I've seen pictures of. I was like, really, we had that stuff back then, and we don't. How come we don't have that now?
I know.
And that stuff is still going in the States. So I was in there, and I remember Mick came in there, and it might have been like after 8 or after 9 in the morning, right? He came in there, and I was kind of in awe because Jazz Brass International,
right.
and I was like, and I was thinking, man, he's up already. Didn't he play last night? 'Cause it was in the middle of Carnival, right? And I remember he sat down, and he had a nice big breakfast, like fried eggs and bacon and the whole thing,
wow.
and of course I'm like a little boy.
Just
so,
watching him like,
I'm
let's see
like-
what he's eating. Let's see how he eats
yeah, I
it.
was like, so I was kind of in awe,
Fan behavior.
That's right.
Yeah. I was very surprised that he was such a easygoing person the first time I met him. Like, went into his store and he was just making these crazy jokes. I was like, okay. Because you would, sometimes you go into stores and they're older persons in there and they're all business-like and they're
Yeah.
very fussy and
Yeah.
no, every time I've met him, it's,
And then there was another time when I was from. There was a rhythm from St. Lucia. This would have been like maybe 2010, somewhere around there. Kess had a big song on this rhythm. Remember Kess had a song? Beg
Let's
you
see if I
check your
remember
body parts and make sure everything intact. Your foot working good. Your hand working. You remember
I
that?
remember that.
So he had that kind of zouk.
Right.
It was like it was a St. Lucia rhythm. It was a Maga Rose rhythm, I remember. And I remember he called me, and because I was playing it a lot, and he called me and he said, that rhythm you were playing with Check Your Body Parts. That's what he actually said.
Right.
I said, yeah, Kess. He said, yeah, you can't give me a copy of that. So and
Nice.
I put them in a CD and I took them from him, and I think he had started doing ZZ already. I don't remember if I took them on 4th Street or if I took it up to ZZ.
I used to hear him quite a lot on that market show. What was it called? Marketplace?
Yeah.
something?
Radio Market.
Radio
with
Market.
Jazzy D.
Yeah.
On Saturday. In fact, I was telling my wife over the weekend, I think it might have been Monday or Tuesday, and I said, wow. So they're gonna have to find someone else to
Yeah.
island market with Jazzy, because it's not gonna be the same with her alone.
That's
Because
true.
you
That's
need
true.
that repartee.
And they made a very good pair. I've just been his daughter and I are friends, Sister Cynthia, but I know her from school, so sometimes I call her by her name, Michelle.
Yeah, me too.
Right? And it's like
her as
every time I
Michelle.
would say Michelle, like my staff would be like, "Who?" I'm like, Sister Cynthia. But I know her, and I've just been seeing different videos she's been posting, and it's really emotional. Sometimes you don't remember or even think that these people have another side to them, that they have a family life. And he was so sweet with his granddaughter. And I know that she's definitely going to miss him, because she's still relatively young. She's very young. And so, I don't know. It's been a rough month. I think today, this other guy is getting buried, EK's partner, Locksman. I think it's today. And I met this guy once. And I'll never forget him, because he was such a kind person to me. I was leaving. I had a party for my birthday, and I was leaving the party. And as soon as I got outside, my foot caught cramp, and I'm standing there howling in pain. And this guy comes out of nowhere, and he goes, "Let me help you." So he puts me to sit, and then he starts telling me that he does coaching for football, and when the guys get cramped up, this is what he does. And I stayed there probably like a good 20 minutes, just massaging this cramp out of my foot, and I'm screaming all the time, because it's like the most horrible cramp I've ever experienced in my life. And that's how I met him. And I'll never forget him, because I couldn't move. And he just took time out. I was a stranger to him. He's a stranger to me. And he got the cramp out of my leg. And so I'll definitely remember him for that. Again, condolences to his family and friends and loved ones. And EK, I know today is going to be a rough day. And you just hang in there. Your inner thoughts and prayers. I know EK calls him his twin, I think. So I know it's definitely going to be a rough one for him today. I just feel like June has been very unkind to us as it relates to losing loved ones. So
Well, I have a funeral to go to this afternoon myself. My wifey family. And actually, it's someone.
gosh.
It's someone who I was a neighbor to as a kid, and was like one of my.
The cramp was in my foot. Jeez.
Oh my God! So people are terrible. Why? I'm not even gonna ask. What the hell? What the hell? I mean, what else would the crab be? So, like, I was saying, so there's a family member who's gonna be, and someone I look up to, because it was
Who
back
is
in
it? Is it an uncle? Who is it?
Spencer Amory.
Oh my goodness,
know him, right?
yes. I know him very well,
Yeah.
because I have a ridiculously huge gooseberry tree at the back of my yard.
Yes,
And
there was
he
a gooseberry
always
tree in
stops
their
by
yard.
to get gooseberry from me.
From
Whenever
you.
it's in bloom.
Oh yeah, they used to
And
have one
then
in
he
their
would
yard.
bring back. Maybe he's obsessed with gooseberry.
Well,
and
yeah, because there was one in there. Yeah, because I
Right.
used to live like 2 houses down from them as a kid.
Again, condolences to
And
his family and
his
friends
sister-
and loved ones.
His sister was one of my babysitters. So
Oh,
the nurse.
yeah. He
Yeah.
was friends with my stepdad, and he
Yeah.
would often stop by to get gooseberry and then
Yeah.
bring back the jam or whatever it is after he made
Oh really?
whatever with it. So that's how
Oh,
we became
okay.
friends. And then at one of my jobs, we worked right across the street from each other when he was with the labor department.
Mm-hmm.
And so we would see each other in the parking lot or on the street, and he was always pleasant.
Yeah, and we had this. And funny
Gosh,
thing is, I saw him.
Didn't realize
I
today
saw
was
him.
his funeral.
Oh boy, I saw him about.
Spencer
I
Amory.
saw him about a week before he died, right?
Oh,
And he stopped me, and he was saying he heard me playing Kate Bush or something, right? So I said, you know Kate Bush? He said, yes, I'm a big fan of. He said, I'm a big fan of Kate Bush. I said, and I was surprised because I didn't think anyone here was into Kate Bush.
Wow.
And there's a song that kind of ended up back on the charts because of Stranger Things, Running Up That Hill.
because right. Oh,
Running Up That Hill.
yes. That song
Mhm.
it gets stuck in your head, doesn't
Yeah,
it?
and so I said, so Running Up That Hill. He said, yes, I have the album. I said, really? I said, I didn't think
Wow.
anyone here was into Kate Bush. And then I was telling him about Maxwell, because
The Maxwell. Abs
Yeah.
Maxwell.
Singer Maxwell.
Yeah,
'Cause-
Abs Maxwell.
What you said?
Abs.
Oh, he has abs. Okay, I would know. I'm a dude. I would notice that. So he so I said, well, Max. There's this R&B artist named Maxwell, and he is a big fan of Kate Bush. In fact, he covered this woman's work, and then his face lit up. He said, "Oh yeah, he covered yeah."
Oh,
right."
wow.
Because he knows this. He knows the original.
Right, right.
So I actually when I went home, I sent him a couple videos, like YouTube links of Maxwell.
That was
with
nice.
this woman's work, and then I told him, I said, if you like his stuff, I could do a CD for you or something. And the next thing I know, then about a week later,
He passed?
yes,
Good grief. It was that recent.
yes, that recent.
Whoa, I hadn't seen him in a while, but before I saw him, he looked different, and I just figured,
He looked the same to me.
it's
Really?
age,
Okay.
because he would pass in my area pretty often.
Yeah.
And then this year, my gooseberry tree, he got some kind of like aphids or blight or whatever you're
whitey
calling it,
stuff?
some white stuff. And so we didn't get any
They just spoil
from
everything.
it. Yeah, we didn't get any gooseberry from it. So I was like, it's a good thing he didn't even stop to ask, because most of them are kind of infected.
I know you guys were talking about the passage
Mick?
of
A lot of
Mick,
persons.
yeah,
Oh,
and
Mick
also
and Luxman
Spencer
and
Amarian.
Spencer Amarian.
It's a lot of persons, isn't it?
It's draining emotionally.
Yeah. And I know you guys have already expressed condolences, so I want to do the same and express condolences to all the family members and loved ones of those persons who have passed.
Yes.
I was also told that the father of the Prime Minister passed as well.
That's Uncle Mick. That's the same person. That's Mick Stokes.
Oh, wow. Oh, gosh. Oh, I didn't. Oh, I feel like a gotcha moment.
No.
Yeah.
No, I said it yesterday.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah,
Maybe we were
so-
caught up when we were discussing CARICOM.
Yeah. But I never made the two connections.
No.
Oh, yeah, I feel bad.
No, it's
Um,
okay.
yeah.
Come on.
A lot
So,
of persons just
we're
recently
all
learned
human.
too.
Yeah. So I want to express condolences to the family.
Yeah.
Friends.
Man is a legend.
I was just telling
I never
her.
knew that because I was like, I never knew that was the father of,
I only found out after Dr. Drew became Prime Minister.
Yeah.
So.
And someone told me, I know, I didn't even realize that royalties used to play at Spratnet on Wednesday
Yeah.
or something.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
somebody was telling me
Yeah. A
that.
couple of weeks back, I went
They
to
saw them.
Spratnet
They
and
saw
he was
them.
there carrying on.
Mhm. Yeah, and I didn't even realize he was singing with them.
Could
Still.
properly wine for his age.
Yes,
Well, quite
Well,
a
I mean,
performer.
with I mean, with his kind of pedigree in terms of the kind of people they used to wipe up the floor with.
Yeah.
Byron and the Dragonaires and
Mhm.
all them Trinidad bands. Trust me, he would know his stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, when you hear the name Mick Strokes, and so it's like some international, based on his work and everything that he would have done, and you can't believe he comes from, St. Kitts and Nevis. I think it's commendable. Yeah.
Definitely.
You guys want this call? Let's take a
I'm
call.
happy he
Certainly.
got his awards
wait.
while he was alive.
Yeah.
Yes. By the way, did he get the investiture just the last one there? Was it or was it before?
I'm not sure if it was the last one. I think it was
Okay.
before.
Hi, Island Tico, you're on. Go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, everybody
Yeah,
in
what's up?
the kitchen.
Hey.
Good morning. How are you?
Oh, I am good. And you?
I am great.
Are you good?
Definitely. Thank you for asking.
Azard good?
Yes, I'm good. How are you, Culture? You good?
Yes, man, and jam so goodish.
Well, he's finished his coffee, so he's getting better.
Oh, tell him wake up, man. Tell him wake
Actually, it
up.
was tea.
Tea. All right.
Jam stuff.
Hey.
I am giving you a level to keep your voice when you're speaking, man. You have a tendency to go down low.
No, I just turned. It's because I was turning my head to do something. That's like.
Don't turn your head when you're going down low. Watch forward.
Culture just want to jam.
Well,
you
I
with something.
always watch forward when I'm doing that. That's for sure.
You mean, I suspect you mean when he's
Always.
operating the machines.
I would love
Yeah,
to
that's
think it's that.
When he's operating the machines, he always looks forward.
I don't know why you're looking. Turn
You're
your
not
head.
going to
Look
make me
up.
drink choke on
Candice
this
is going to
coffee.
come. Candice is going to come, man. Don't worry.
I'm having coffee. Thank you. Oh, my goodness.
Culture is a man after my own heart.
Listen, I recently, I found out who your nephew is recently, and I'm going to report you.
Okay. It's okay, man. Me good, everybody like me because me back hard like a turtle one.
Oh, Culture, before you come off, give me a number.
Yeah.
Remind me to give me when you.
You gonna give me back?
Exactly.
Yeah, I'll give
Are
you back.
Gonna give it back to him?
4.5 dozen.
Okay.
Nice.
Wow.
84.
Wait. Let me write
Half
down
dozen toad.
Let me write down the first one.
That is a whole code.
Okay.
Seriously, right?
Okay, give me the second part now.
84.
Mm-hmm.
Half dozen toad.
Okay.
You laugh?
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
It was 8163.
Go ahead and see if my code breaking.
Azard, you see that?
No, go ahead. I'm on top of him. Yeah, I have it.
You wait? Come off, man.
Oh, actually, no. No, not at all. Not at all.
Hello.
Never that. Never
For the
that.
love of everything.
Okay, go ahead. 466-812. Go ahead.
You know what expression came to my head? They think they play the owe me handbag.
Oh, me handbag.
Oh.
Indeed.
Okay.
It would
You
be
owe-
perfect in this
You owe me a
situation.
number. You owe me a number.
Yeah. Yeah. Eh?
You owe me the seventh number.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have already given many condolences to
No,
the great late Mick Stokes.
no Culture
And
saying
on-
you haven't given the last number, you know.
Oh,
Only
the
have
last
six.
number is third.
Third, okay.
8163rd.
As I call out the whole number already.
Oh.
Yeah,
We were
8163,
cracking our
8163.
We were cracking the code.
Okay.
Oh,
My little
Okay,
you got
got
him?
it. Yeah, got it now.
Then
Yeah.
break
Okay.
it down.
yeah, because you see, it's gold, silver, and bronze. No,
And-
no higher than that.
Smart guy, you still have a landline. Everyone
Okay.
thinks it's so
Oh, yeah.
modern not having a landline.
You
Go
do
ahead.
not
Do you
move the
still have a
old
landline?
landmark.
Yes, because I'm modern and I'm smart.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
You should see this smirk
Go
on his
ahead.
face
I
when
know,
he said that.
I know.
I was saying that, I already given a lot of condolences for the loss of Mick Oily, the greatest. And show you something. Mick always sing his songs that even if you can't dance and you're sitting down, you could tap your instep to the beat and tempo of his music. He have you chipping, chip, 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 chip. And I can tell you something. The only person that I could say close to his style of singing is Slim Edwards. The both of them always come with a beat that could make even somebody who lying in a bed like a vegetable move, make them move somewhere. They're great. He's hard to replace. He cannot be replaced, and he is greatly missed.
Definitely.
Yes.
And he always have a chuckle laugh between anything he say. So nobody would believe that he was that sick that he passed so quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lively spirit, man. We missed him a lot.
Yeah, he
And
definitely.
my
had a lively
condolences to all who miss Mick and his music. When you think about him, man, he was more than a calypsonian. He was an entertainer, everything.
spirit. Yes.
And to be singing vocal and knocking your drums, you got to be great. Just like the bass man, Ham, who used to play. Ham from Derby, who used to play in a band. He used to sing, and he's still playing the bass guitar.
And that's one of the hardest things to do, actually.
That's right. Because when you're singing, you got to sing either in either soprano, you got to sing soprano, and then you still have to play your bass guitar to back up while you're singing. Those people were born with that kind of talent.
Yeah, it's definitely a talent.
Yeah.
So Candice, you born with some good talent too,
Do tell.
But don't leave all in there.
Thank you. Thank you for the
Leave a little bit.
compliment and advice.
Leave a little bit that jams could be happy all day.
Good grief.
Jam's so good with his coffee,
I brought
man.
him fruit recently. I think he's good.
He hit tea.
Actually, Jamster, where's our cocktail?
Yeah, he's a good man. He's a good man to be around.
I'm glad
And
you
I know
asked.
Definitely.
as long as you and Azard is on his left side and right side, you are going to keep him with his head straight.
Definitely. You read it correctly.
That's right.
Okay.
Okay.
We
Let
try
me get out of the
to
way.
ensure,
are gonna
you know, that
Okay,
he
you
gets
too.
to art
someone else is trying to get in.
Yeah.
Okay.
Have a good
No
one
problem.
today.
Alright,
Thank
yeah.
you.
Okay. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
okay. Culture.
So
Yeah.
you guys realize, looking at the NHC website, that
You've been on recently?
I've seen it on the social media that they have changed the designs of the homes. They have new
Again?
designs. Yeah, they have new designs. And I thought that based on our conversations before and what we were told, that the construction of the homes were to start in June.
You know what the website is?
I don't remember links. I just go Google, put in the keywords them, NHC
NHC
St.
St.
Kitts,
Kitts, yeah.
and then just go
Yeah.
in it.
I think it's NHC.kn or something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Jay-Z's mother weds Trinidadian woman.
Yes,
What?
ma'am.
That's what you see on when you
On
do that.
NHC?
No,
Oh,
look.
I'm not, man. I
They,
was
they,
joking
they
with
got
you.
married
Yeah,
this
no.
weekend.
Yeah, I was joking with you because you asked for it, and then I thought that you were going to look at it.
Right,
And
right.
then now you're telling me
I know
about
that
Jay-Z.
the houses were indeed supposed to be started
Everything-
in June or launched in June, or was it just
Yeah.
the show
Every-
houses or the entire construction?
Everything wrong is right.
I thought the construction of the homes were to begin in June.
Okay,
Yeah.
so then that means that the show homes were supposed to be done before then.
All the time I had these questions of how soon these houses are going to be built for them to be shown, That has always been a question for me to see, because it seemed like it would have been some rapidly built homes. And I mean,
Should have
I
been
must
based
say,
on what they
for
described.
me, when I looked at the new designs looked better than what
Do
they
you
had
have it
before.
open there? Can I
So I don't know what they would have done in terms of how whatever changes would have been in the contract, because I mean this is something that was not proposed before, and based on the agreement that they had, they were also supposed to start in June. So I don't even know if there have been changes.
So right.
Yeah, these are all questions. I mean,
But I'm wondering if they're going to address my biggest pet peeve. The sensible and practical land use, as in multi-story dwellings.
yeah.
At least people give people the option to say, okay, are
Yeah,
you
I-
interested in
Try to
having
look for it.
are you interested in having a bungalow style home with your own yard and everything?
Yeah.
It's not going to be practical to keep doing that. So some people, especially if you're disposed to have an apartment, a condo, whatever you want to call it, we might have to go that way. They still haven't addressed that.
Yeah, because and then you look at it, it would have been 2,400.
Right.
That's a lot of space, So
But
20
I didn't even know they
2400?
changed the design. But
it would have
I
been
guess
2,400 homes.
Homes, yeah. I was
it
thinking.
kind of makes sense, because remember the deputy PM announced that they changed the space. They increased the
Yeah.
footage.
Yeah, they increase the space. yeah.
Right. So I guess it kind of stands to reason that they would have to alter the designs.
Yeah, I mean,
So then-
one will have come here.
Right.
But it just seemed more questions than answers, and it just seemed like a merry-go-round.
Let's take a call.
After
guys.
one thing happens, another one changes, and you don't know
What stage we're at now?
you don't even know what stage you were at before the changes were made.
Point.
Caller, go ahead.
Yeah, good morning, Jamstone.
Oh, hi, what's up?
I'm good, Azard, and the nice voice lady there.
Yeah, Candy.
Thank you, Candy. Good
Nice
morning.
I want to
everything.
send my condolences to the great Mick
Indeed.
and Mr. Amory, my good friend, Spencer. By Jamstone, you realize real good people transitioning, But that's life. Let me show you something, Jamstone. This country gonna miss the little boy Mick Stokes, Remember he come joyfully every December with melodies to us, Keep a country safe with music. And when you hear the voice at Christmas time, think it ain't got nothing, When Mick Stokes ain't come with nothing long time with jazz brass. The two jazz, Matt, the brass. I just hope Ringo could do the right thing. That get a piece of the band go there and start play some of the pieces up to the cemetery. Because he deserves it.
That would be nice. That's a good
Mick
idea.
Stokes deserve that. Jamsa, before leaving, I want you play this song. Try a little kindness from me. And other pieces there where he
I don't
do
think-
jazz brass.
I don't think we have that.
Gold pieces.
I don't
There's
think
the
we have that
element and
here,
the
though.
jazz brass.
Yeah,
Good
we-
morning, King Elimat. The hard is hard. Great guys leaving us, but that's how we go. That's how we go. Have a good day, everybody.
Okay,
Thank you. Same to you.
And for Mick's family and my good friend Michelle,
Yes.
my condolences go to the family. And he little grand. He's so in love with her. Anytime I pass by him, he talk about his grand. Michelle little girl. Have a good day.
Yeah, you
Thank you
too.
so much. Same to you.
Yeah, we
Indeed. To see them
don't-
together, it was just
Yeah.
amazing.
we don't have that song. You know what spooge is?
If I know what?
Spooges. Spooge.
No.
It's a genre that Barbados pioneered.
Spooge
Yeah.
as a mixture of. What can you compare it to?
It's the closest thing would be reggae.
Oh,
But-
really?
Yeah, but they made a whole thing.
something
It
new
was
every
big
day.
during the 70s. So they had Element and Jazz Brass with Mick singing. Mick wrote the song.
And that
A
type
song
of.
called Try a Little Kindness. That's what he was
Well,
talking about. But we don't
okay.
have that here.
Is it like based on? Because I know Sparrow has a version. So is it kind of like Sparrow's version, or?
Actually, yeah, it's a cover, but it's a spooge
Okay,
cover.
okay.
Yeah, it is a cover.
Yeah.
If you try a little kindness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I know that song.
Yeah.
Nice.
In a narrow-minded.
If you see your
Brother.
neighbor walking down the street, something like
In
that.
a narrow-minded something. Yeah, something.
Narrow-minded
yeah,
people
yeah.
on a
Yeah.
narrow-minded street.
Yeah.
Narrow-minded. Ba, 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 ba.
I'm not even gonna
Yeah.
attempt to do anything like what
I
Jam says,
know.
and I'll just
Nah.
speak out the words. That's not my talent.
Not until you're on.
Hello?
Hi,
Hi,
Alan
good
T.
morning.
Hey, good morning.
I just called back to give you all the answer, the reason why the two houses, for example, ain't built yet.
Right.
Yes.
They were supposed to be built in June. But you see, June is too soon. And July, they must comply. Because August, they must complete what they say they're going to do. So that's the reason why they ain't built them in June yet.
I see.
And they will comply in July because August is a must.
August is a must.
Yeah.
Listen.
So the plan is
Thank
to build
you. They were gonna
the
build
2 models. or
I think it
something?
was 3 model houses. I'm trying to remember
I think it
what
was
the
2.
article said.
It
2?
was 2.
Yeah, they
Two
said
model,
two, yeah.
two model homes.
All right, I stand corrected. 2.
But have they
Well,
been
I-
built yet?
But
Because
then-
I mean,
You just hear culture tell you in July they're gonna comply.
But then also, it makes sense that if they have to make modifications, and that they wouldn't have started yet because they would have to make the modifications and also make whatever engineering and structural.
so they're going to tell us
modifications.
anytime
I
soon.
was just gonna ask, do you think we should have gotten a heads up?
Maybe they
Yes.
should have said, maybe,
Absolutely.
guys, we are making changes as per what we said, that the homes were going to be built in June. The new date that the homes are going to be built would be at a later time, perhaps in September.
At least I didn't even remember until you guys mentioned it
Yeah.
yesterday.
You
Yeah,
know,
so-
one of the problems we have in this country is communication.
Yeah, communication.
Take for instance, a lot of the government offices. I have been calling a particular government office about 2 weeks now to speak to the person in charge. And every single time I call, it's amazing. She's in a meeting. So yesterday I walked and I went into the office. Wouldn't you know she's in a meeting again? I swear, she's in a meeting. I don't know if it's that she's in a meeting every single time by coincidence,
Or
or
just
if
when
it's
you
an
come.
avoidance static. I don't know.
Yeah.
And the persons sitting at the front, these are the customer-facing persons. They have 0 customer service skills.
You sure it's not the Department of Meeting Keeping?
Man, I don't even understand it.
But
And
you
these
see-
are people that deal with people daily, regularly, because of the nature of their work. And as soon as you walk in there, it's like everybody's like, I don't want to be here type of attitude,
Yeah.
slumped over, giving you one-word answers. Good morning, I'm trying to get in touch with da-da-da. She in a meeting. Okay, is there anyone else I can speak to? She in a meeting too.
You know, but you know what?
Do you know how
what?
long the meeting is going to last? Is this a regular thing? Should I wait? It's up to you. Is there a contact number? Sure. Everything is like what? Like you have to put. It's insane to me. And these are the customer facing
it's like pulling teeth.
persons.
But
It's pulling teeth.
what Candy is saying isn't unusual. It happens, and it happens way too often. And you know what it creates? it creates a culture where people don't want to go through the necessary channels because the necessary channels
Don't work.
don't work. So you know what they do? They try to go through the politicians, and they try to go through the persons and say, hey, I need a meeting with this person, I need a direct contact. And then, because when I think about it, why is it that persons feel like they need somebody to talk to the person in a government office
It's
rather than to
insane.
just go through
Go
the
there.
procedure?
Just
Exactly.
like I don't want to have to go and call the minister in charge of this specific department. You put people there for that. I don't
Yeah.
want to go to the PS. I'd like to just go to the office and conduct regular business. But it's ridiculous. I've been calling this one place 2 weeks.
And perhaps what they could do too is just have a timeline where they see people and then make it known to the public that is
This
only
is the
between-
time when you see persons.
Yeah.
Come on.
We have to
a
think
call.
more forward thinking. Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead, call.
Hey, Candy,
Hi, good morning.
a regular thing from since 2005 in the government office. Now, if you had a man like Mr. Bradshaw in this country, he self would have done check these officers, assess them himself, and put the penalty on the supervisor. These supervisors does not work. They does not work. They out the office them 24 seconds, join the government money. All the government business them. They've got no kind of customer service. The young workers them coming through in the civil service. That's a terrible. Can you talk to people? And can this look and take it from me, a street man? You feel like how you and Azard and Jamster on the radio, they watch faces. And when you walk into these government businesses, for instance, me who they call in and don't fear them, they come with them kind of attitude to you
Yeah.
when you go in these institutions to do business. They play a lot of politics.
That's
and the
crazy.
politicians them playing it too.
It's
But
too
let
much
us take it
politics.
easy. We will get it straightened. Have a good day again. This is Jam now, eh?
Thank
Yes.
you. Same to you, Jamdang.
Yes.
We spoke yesterday. Remember, we spoke yesterday.
It's
about
too much
the fact that-
politics.
Yeah, we
You-
lost the
you-
other call?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Even before we took the first one.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
Remember, we spoke yesterday about the fact that when you're just objectively presenting maybe criticisms of saying this wrong, this is wrong, this needs to be looked at, and you're doing it in good faith, and rather than people take
Fixing it.
Yes.
They take offense.
and they get defensive. And
But see what he mentioned, he said Bradshaw would have gone down. Bradshaw would have only probably known, or I'm assuming that if persons called it out. So you have to call it out so that they will know that something is wrong.
well, you remember yesterday, Ira said that. Ira was basically saying that the old mold of politicians is gone. So we're not even sure if we probably can't depend on this crop of politicians to really care about the things that some of these things that matter. These are basic civic structures that you think.
And it's sad.
Would-
It's sad because
How
if
can
you
we
can,
conduct business? You know, there's a scale of ease of doing business that is like a worldwide thing. What number are we at now?
We're like one.
we're like
80
almost to the
something?
bottom.
This is horrible.
The bottom
Yeah.
of the scale.
We are too small to have that.
Exactly. Imagine if we had a big country like United States.
I remember.
Yeah.
And I heard someone talking about, I can't believe this is a thing still. Someone was talking a few weeks ago about the fact that when you want to get a passport, you still have to be running all over town. You have to go down Connell Street, down by the clinic.
I think we
And you
need
have
to
to-
get and
I mean,
And you have to go by stamps.
Yeah.
you
And the
better
thing
make sure
about
that you
it-
go at a normal time.
and the thing about it, okay, we have callers. Callers, go ahead. yes.
hi, caller, go ahead.
Greetings, IT.
Hey.
Good
Greetings.
morning. How are you?
Yes, I didn't want to miss a word. We take time off our morning period. Holy for deaths, holy for deaths, holy for
Yeah,
deaths.
very much. Too many.
Yeah. And communicating.
Yeah.
Thanks for raising this issue, and thanks for reasoning about it. Jamdong said something about not doing the government work. I want to correct that. They're not doing our work. Our work. Who they're supposed to be serving
And the thing is, with these whole heap of red tapes and red flags and red tapes, as it is rightly said, it will move once to make different approach. And those approaches ought not be the way to go. And I really think that it has been happening for a while. We hear mention, but I think it go beyond that. And I really think that, say the vote. You see the voting thing. We could call it prophesizing, but people are going to refuse to vote, People are going to refuse to vote because our votes is what dictates their positions and who they put, the decision they make to put whoever in other positions. And if it is not working, then the Westminster style system is going to get a beating. Mm-hmm. Because everybody's somebody, Nobody have 2 head and nobody have 2 and 3 head and 6 hand and certain amount of foot, and other people have 1 head and 2 hand and 2 foot, Everybody is an equal vibration, and we're not getting that. It's something like what Peter, if there's no, who sing it? Peter, one of them. If we don't have certain things in place, certain things is going to be happening. That's why we keep talking about the polite violence. We keep getting alarm when we see blood shedding, and every day we keep without shedding blood. Every day murder go on without blood shedding in a St. Kitts and Nevis. Yeah? Polite violence. So once we have polite violence, look out for the bloodletting, cold-blooded ones, Yeah. Give thanks at the time. Blessed love.
Thank you.
Blessed love.
Yeah.
See,
I just saw an interesting
it's a
story.
good amount of persons suffering from the same thing. We definitely have to fix it.
Yeah.
I must admit they've gotten better at answering the phones. When you call government headquarters.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's faster, polite.
Hello?
Hi,
Hello,
caller.
good morning.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, Candice, I want to agree with you 100%. Customer service at a lot of these government departments are zero tolerance. Zero outdated. As soon as they see you coming as a customer, they take up the possession in the hand and the back turn to you and the face going to the door. That means come back tomorrow. And a lot of these things were going on. Jamdang is right. Because there was a man who was leading this country named Mr. Robert Llewellyn Bradshaw. Even ZZ. One time he sent home 2 DJs from working up there for a week. Because what? They put on a song that he feel to him, he tell him said that's not supposed to be on the air. And he call up there and he give the manager the message, tell him, look, tell that person get up from there and go home.
Wow.
So they were disciplined for 1 week. And a lot of these things were going on around here, especially in government departments. He really don't stop them because he was always aware of what going down. One time he went to public works to see somebody in the office, and he reached up there 20 to 12. And he there sitting down until 12 o'clock, and then he get up and he went. And he signed his name in the book what time he reached and what time he left. And the next day he went back up there to see the same person. And they were right up there until 1 minute to 12. They get up, take out the bag, and they went. Because they see he was there, and he put his name in there to show them that he know what's going down.
Okay, then.
Now, let me ask the lawyers, the 3 lawyers we got here.
Two.
Or the other one still in school. Now, if Jamster haven't broken the protocol in Win FM, and he does not reach the age of retirement yet, but the manager going to fire Jamster, all because of one name he has. and then they're going to employ somebody who had retired, don't reach the retirement age, and get in Social Security, and replace the person who they fire with that retiree. Now, do you think that is right?
Boy,
Hey.
that is the situation we face every day here. Yes.
Really.
And it's not, yeah, sorry about that. It's not supposed to be fair. It's fair.
Yes.
If a blacksmith is qualified to do blacksmith work, don't put him to build cabinet in house.
Yeah.
You give the cabinet maker who is qualified, give everybody the job according to their qualification.
Agreed.
Kill this, drown this politic behavior need to carry out in the sea with a big mill, a big stone around in, you can throw it in the deepest part of the sea. Let go down where the man blow up down there in the ship. Let it go down, they keep politics away. Otherwise the country ain't gonna further.
Boy.
Let the country go like how God wants it to go. Fair and honest. And respect people. Don't turn with people because everybody giving Candisie the job and nobody giving Azard none. No, don't do it so. Everybody has a right to choose what they want. As long as what you choose is right and constructive and fruitful, fair. But if your choice is destructive and unfruitful, no way, you inhale that to your go so. So you all have a good day, man. Continue drink. I'm making another cup of tea.
Great.
Nice. I hope you belch. Thank you.
Okay.
Yes. And we're just talking because we have seen, some of the shortcomings here in the Federation. And
Boy.
as citizens of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis, residents, persons who live here, we hope that it's better.
Persons
You
who are
understand?
affected by it.
Yeah, because a lot of persons are affected, but they're too afraid to speak about it because they fear victimization. And it's the thing, I don't like when persons say, well, this is how it's always been, and our past administration do the same thing. Should we always live in the past? Should we never
But does
ask
it
for
mean
better?
that it's right?
Exactly.
I really
Not because
I
somebody
really-
did it before means that it's right.
I really hate when people
and
come
when
in.
you travel to
Yeah.
other places and you see efficiency at work, you feel horrible
And I think we could,
because we can do better.
and we're such a small nation. A
I
small
like the idea
nation.
where you say set hours where you're seeing person.
Yeah.
You know what I thought about? I was musing about the other day when we had inland revenue, and I keep seeing it every time I go down to internet. I'm like, man, I used to work there before I went to college, right?
Oh, okay.
But the
Inland revenue
the
is good.
consumer
Inland revenue
Yes.
is
The-
efficient,
Yeah.
Customer
effective.
service
They
is
are
off
on
the chain.
point. From
Yeah.
the time you
It's
enter
off the
the
chain.
door,
So
you're greeted.
so
What
I
business
said-
are you here to conduct
Exactly.
today? And then
Yes.
they point you in the right direction. They assist you filling out the forms. You can do it online. Inland revenue is it, and a lot of these other government departments can learn from inland
I'm
revenue.
sure.
I kid you not.
But here's what I was thinking when they was here. I said, why can't whoever train these people, why can't they set up a unit that does the same thing for every government
Man.
department?
Yeah.
You know,
You know?
I don't even understand it.
Inland
Because
revenue
it's
has
not
set the
even only
standard.
that, right?
Yes.
It's like you kind of have to want to, even when you go to the cashiers. The other day I was there, I was cashing out, and I'm like, I see the guy doing an extra paper, and I remember stopping in and I'm saying, how come this one only has one receipt and that one has two? And then he took time out, explained it to me, showed it to me, did the calculation. You can't ask for better service than that. And I'm not saying that, you always have to go in and be like that. But every single time I've visited the Inland Revenue, I have had on point and seamless transaction and customer service. So I know that the others can do better.
Yeah, and it's good to highlight what the good that persons are doing and the department is doing, and for them to get the recognition because it only encourages them to do even better.
How are we seeing these obvious things and other people aren't seeing it? I mean, that level of customer service and efficiency should be
they even-
standard across the
And
whole
you know what I love about
government
what I love
Social
about them
security is
too?
good too.
They have an
Yeah,
online
yes, Social
platform.
Security as well.
They
yeah.
have an online platform that assists you, and if you have questions, you call in, you get assistance. And the online platform makes it very easy to do business rather than having to go in as well. So
Yes.
something that the other government agencies should look into. Go ahead.
Hello,
You have a
good
call.
morning.
Morning.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm not feeling that well at all, but
Oh no.
Wow.
no,
You
not
feel
me
better soon.
physically, not me
Yes.
physically.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Okay.
No. I feel so down because of, my Uncle Mick.
Oh, sympathy.
Oh my goodness.
Sympathy.
Yes. I really feel it. I really feel it.
You definitely
But
have our
nonetheless,
condolences.
topic at hand. You talk about this customer service. And you all mentioned about the place is too small and whatever. It has nothing to do with the size, And I know you all mentioned about effectiveness and I guess we'll say efficiency in doing one's job, eh?
Yeah.
But to me, I'm not going to say it's because the place is too small.
No,
for
well,
these
I think
things.
what I said this about this size. Let me clarify so you have the understanding. I'm saying it's too small for it to be like this because it's not. Unlike other large territories,
Where
we
you
only,
don't know. Sometimes you know the person.
We're dealing with not as many things. If it's a passport application, also it's probably gonna be less than if it's passport applications in the U.S. The service is less persons we're dealing with. So, as a small territory, we ought to have gotten it right and more smoothly.
Absolutely. Okay, so we got a caller. We have to take a break because we have a Zoom.
We have a
segment.
guest.
Two Zoom segments coming up.
But we
Let's
want
take
to
a quick
say
break.
sympathy to you and your family, your loved ones, on the passing of your uncle.
Okay, let's go to the break.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Many getaway destinations are good, but good is just the new average. Go beyond. Try the greatest. Antigua and Barbuda. Catch vibes with the greatest music, entertainment, and culture. Feel the pulse of the greatest sailing regatta, or indulge yourself in
the Caribbean's greatest summer festival,
or escape to the tranquility of 365 white and pink sand beaches. Capture the energy. 2 islands, 1 destination. With flights throughout the region, getting here has never been easier. Why wait? Book your trip and experience the Caribbean's greatest. Go to visit antiguaandbarbuda.com for more information.
Riddle this, riddle that. Horseman's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store is again giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars in cashback for free groceries with every hire purchase. Will be given back this coupon season. Happening now. Hundreds of thousands of dollars in cashback coupon to all our hire purchase customers this coupon season. Starting now until December 2023. You get absolutely free groceries with every hire purchase at our Horseman's Furniture and Appliances stores on St. Kitts Nevis and our Ashley Home Store on St. Kitts. So riddle this. Where can you get quality furniture and appliances at great prices with a flexible FlexPlay plan and with absolutely free groceries with every hire purchase? Riddle that. Cashback at Horseman's Furniture and Appliances on St. Kitts Nevis and our Ashley Home Store on St. Kitts. Riddle this, riddle that. Horseman's Furniture and Appliances and Ashley Furniture Home Store is giving you over $250,000 in cashback and a chance to win free groceries for a year. Riddle that cashback. Terms and conditions apply. See store for details.
If you need protection, you need one who you can trust to secure your investment. You need one who'll do you just. TDC Insurance, you're the one that you can trust. TDC Insurance, you're always safe with us.
TDC Insurance is your go-to insurance company for all your insurance needs. We take pride in offering you the best solutions and ensuring our customers are fully satisfied. TDC Insurance, we take good care of you, guaranteeing you peace of mind. You're always safe with us.
Down, 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 down. Yes, sir. Down, 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 down. Everywhere I go, it's your time at the follow.
Well, it's definitely going on. We've got Mr. Ivan Cruikshank. He's the Director of Public Sector Investment program. That's PSIP, and we've also got Dr. Matthias Offrey. So we get straight to it. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning, and welcome to Island Tea, Dr. Offrey.
Yes, and we have an online guest as well.
Mr. Cruikshank, is that it?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you loud and clear. Welcome to Island Tea.
Yeah, so this is Ivan Cruikshank from CVC, Caribbean Vulnerable Communities, yes.
So
Welcome.
Tell us and our listening audience why you guys are here with us today.
Okay, great. Good morning and good morning to your listeners. I'm quite excited to have this conversation with you along with Dr. Offrey. So we wanted to share this morning a little bit about the work we're trying to do in respect of controlling the HIV epidemic in St. Kitts and across the broader Caribbean. We have some specific activities that we are engaged in the OECS countries, including St. Kitts. So we wanted to share a little bit about that work that we're trying to do, but also to use this opportunity to bring your listeners into the conversation about how we can advance the work we're doing in the country to eliminate HIV from as a pandemic or epidemic. So that's really why we want to be here this morning and to have the conversation with you.
Perfect. And so I know you do a lot of work on the ground here. I've seen you in action. So give us some insight. How has it been?
So first of all, I want to say thank you guys for inviting us and having us here to really communicate not to you alone, but to the Federation at large, and to sensitize the people on what is really going on in terms of HIV, STIs, and other infectious diseases that we have on the island, and how the Ministry of Health and the HIV Secretariat is combating the epidemic, which is HIV, as a major topic to talk on. However, for HIV, we are drastically having a multi-sectoral approach towards mitigating the spread of the infection, because that is our goal, to really ensure that persons know their status, people that are infected or exposed to it are put under treatment, and that can drastically reduce the viral load to a percentage that cannot be transmittable, and they can also have long, productive, efficient living, right? And we have been doing outreach in terms of testing as of last week, Friday, which is the 30th. We had an outreach, a regional testing day that was held in at the square, and we had a number of persons that turned out to really get tested to know their status. And we used that opportunity to encourage people to really come out to get the tests done, because the thing about it is that if you don't know your status, it's to your own detriment, because I say, what a disease that is well known based in medicine, a disease that's well known can be well treated. So it's preferred that if you're exposed to it as HIV, we can then help. But when it gets to AIDS, you are exposed to variety of other infectious diseases, because the immune system can really combat whatever infection that you are exposed to.
Right.
I see you guys in the square often. Could you give an indication of, during that sessions like those, how many persons actually come and get tested?
As the last one we had about close to 500 and something persons.
Oh,
yeah.
Amazing.
Serious?
Yes. I really didn't expect you to say such a high number,
exactly.
But that's great.
That's great, yeah.
It's a good turnout. It's a good turnout most times.
And I'm happy to hear that. And I think a lot of persons still don't know. So I know there's still more work to be done. Do we have access to the retroviral drug here, which can combat it when it's still in the HIV stage as opposed to full-blown?
Because it's no longer death sentence at HIV.
Exactly.
Yes, so that's why I encourage that people get tested, because when you get tested, we have a system, a more organized system, in such a way that if you tested positive, we link you to care right away. You understand? So there are medications that are available to really, which is free. The test is free, the medication is free, and it's accessible. and we ensure that confidentialities are top notch to really ensure that persons feel comfortable enough, feel safe enough to really express themselves. And that is why I'm saying that the medication is available, and it's free, and the tests are available and they are free, and you can access them in the health centers or the health centers. You can also access them in the hospital as well as in the Ministry of Health, in the HIV Secretariat.
Wow. I heard you mention that you guys are doing it across a multi-sector. Now tell us what exactly that means, because in my head I'm envisioning, okay, so you're going into every single department, school, whatever else, but
precisely
put it in your words, because that's just my imagination.
Actually, you're not far-fetched from what it's all about. So we try to involve every department, every sector, business sector, private sector, to really the government sector to really combat this virus, because we have come to realize that just having a one-dimensional way of addressing this HIV and other STIs will not be efficient enough. So we have been we've been going to churches, we've been going to schools, we've been going to business places.
Yes.
Let's say you have 20 plus persons and you want, based on the fact that your work schedule is very tight, you invite us and we come to you. Right? We come to you, get the test done, provide the education session and everything in your business places. In fact, right now we are involved with the schools greatly. The Ministry of Education have been doing exceptionally amazing with us, partnering with us. Their seriousness to the Secretariat is just beyond comprehension. We are partnering with them with parents-teacher association meetings. So we have the opportunity to really educate the parents about what it is and how they can, at a developmental stage, can educate their own children, because you cannot give what you don't have. Right. So we educate the parents and also help to educate their children as well.
Wow, each one teach one. And Mr. Cruikshank, are you still online? Are you still there? Did we lose him?
No, I'm here. I'm actually
here. So where do you fit in? Where do you carry out your end of the
Yes.
Okay, so we work across the Caribbean, and part of our remit is to do two things. One is to be able to bring cross-Caribbean experiences to bear on the work that has been done in countries. And we've particularly focused on working with our civil society groups and our national AIDS program. So we try to see how we can build partnerships across civil society and national programs, but also bring to bear what is happening in other countries. So I'm based in Jamaica. So we have excellent models of service delivery, care approaches, and ways that we do prevention work that we share with our OECS counterparts. The second thing that we do is that we have a number of advocacy interventions. So we know sometimes advocacy is a little bit more difficult when it's coming from the ground, because people might be timid and sort of concerned about how what they say may come across, because it's a very closed space. So we have that ability to engage the national policy makers around substantive issues, particularly some of the new innovations that we think can move the HIV response forward. And so part of our remit is to be able to come in and support our national program managers, our civil society organization, to get that message across. Right. And we also do quite a bit of research about what's happening with the different populations. One of the things that we have seen in most of our responses globally, it's not just a Caribbean response, but globally, is that there are some populations that are more at risk for HIV, but are oftentimes the groups that are left out of HIV responses. And so part of what we try to do is to see how we can bring them in, identify where they are at, bring them into the response, ensure that they're getting good quality service, help service deliverers such as your healthcare workers, your different stakeholders, help them to understand these groups and how they can deliver service better to these groups. So we do trainings with our healthcare workers. We recently had supported a healthcare workers training in St. Kitts and Nevis. And so that's how we come in. We also provide funding support to small NGOs or CSOs in the countries that are trying to do prevention, treatment work, adherence, counseling, psychosocial support. We provide them with small resources that can assist them in doing the work that they would like to do. And those efforts do contribute to what the national picture looks like. Because as you know, community-based organizations are more likely to reach people where they are at than large public sector entities. So that's where we come in, and that's where we try to focus our efforts and our energies.
Wow. Interesting. And I'm gonna ask, what are some of the methods that you guys have been implementing to reach the younger population? Because everything for them is social media, the phone.
Yes.
So social media is a big part of where we're moving out. So we are currently now developing. We have new innovations. We have things like PrEP, which is pre-exposure prophylaxis, which is an innovation that if people take one pill per day for a specified period of time, it reduces their risk for getting HIV, even if they get into a situation where they're exposed. So we want to push the uptake of PrEP as an alternative or an additional part of the combination prevention package. Wow. We're also developing some campaigns around HIV self-testing, which provides individuals an opportunity to be able to test for HIV in their own private space. So those are things that we're developing, and we are using social media to get that message out, to get people to develop an understanding. And we have had some webinars and conversations with key groups around these innovations. So yes, we do recognize that younger people, we can't use the traditional ways. They're not coming to our pop-up events. They're not coming to the clinics to ask for testing. So how do we reach them? And we have to reach them with messages via social media, but also innovations that they are more likely to take up, because it provides them with a level of discretion, a level of comfort, a level of anonymity, all of which I think will be important to ensure that more people are getting tested, and if they're positive, getting into treatment and care.
Love it. Thank you. I think I've seen an ad like that on TV. I just didn't know that we had that in this region just yet. So I'm happy to hear that.
Yeah, we are really working on that. As he rightly indicated, this is just not an in-country affair. It is a regional affair, and most of the OECS states are really implementing that, and we are working towards really achieving that goal, in involving the young people in every of our activities that we're doing, because, they are the future of our country. So we want to ensure that they are really involved, and most of our PSS are also, carried out by young people. So we are really integrating them in our system.
Perfect. Now, I'm curious, do you guys have stats? Like, have we seen a dent in terms of infection, contraction?
Yeah, it's data is very important. So we have stats, and at this present time, I will tell you this: despite the fact that we have those number of persons coming out to test, it's 85% of those persons are persons that are continually doing the test. We're not having more of the new persons coming out to do tests, especially males. Males don't really come out to get the test done. And that's why I want to...
It's always the males.
Every opportunity I have, I try to hit that. It's very important. And we see that most persons that are at the end stage, which is AIDS, are mostly males.
At
some
that
persons,
point you
at that point, we only manage you, and we don't want to allow it to get to that point. So get tested. However, at this present time, we have 223 persons tested and that are positive. However, I would tell you this: you can multiply that times 10. To what we have in the country, because that statistic is gotten from the percentage of persons that have been tested.
So from that, is it when you say tested positive, do you break it down into HIV and full-blown AIDS, or
just those that have HIV? Yes.
Okay, so
if you're infected, yes, whether you are moved to AIDS or you are just HIV stage. You are, have the statistics based on the fact that you are being exposed to that virus.
Yeah. And there's some persons, and the hesitancy, because some persons, and you see it around in day-to-day time, they rather not know and something happen than to live the fact that they know. But it's always good that you know, because you could always make prevention.
But see, that's also risky.
Yeah.
And somebody even in the chat is alluding to that, because it's like you don't know that you have tuberculosis, so you mix with all of us, and then all of us become infected from a simple cough, right? Because tuberculosis is highly contagious, and I use that because that's the first one I could think of, right? You don't know that you have HIV, and you are, having intercourse with this one person. That person might be having intercourse with somebody else. So when you're thinking that you're just with this one person, it's a whole table full of everybody having, intercourse with the same one person, and that person could be the person with the virus.
And oftentimes when people
so
feel...
it's better to know so you can prevent and protect.
Oftentimes when people feel they're having sex with just one person, they are not using protection. You understand? So, again, they open the risk. So it's always good to be tested.
And there's still a stigma, I find, and that is one of the things that we can't seem to break through. There's still a stigma because people still don't, I feel, fully understand how it works. How are you guys finding it in the field?
It is something that I think we're still combating. Stigma and discrimination is obviously in even most of our sector, and we have been providing training for stigma and discrimination to the healthcare providers from all levels, and we hope to continue doing that, and we hope that most persons, as much stigma, to my opinion, is driven or gotten from or being agitated from a point of ignorance. So if you're not informed, you are just functioning in a deformed information. So if people are well informed, they will understand that, hey, HIV, if you use the same cup that a HIV infected person had used, or have a handshake or a brace, it doesn't mean that you will be infected. And as such, that's ill information is really affecting people. So that's why we use every opportunity, every chance we have to really let people know that it is not contracted that way. So it is not whether or not you feel somebody have lost weight, the person is exposed. That ignorance alone is driving the stigma and discrimination around. So we are working on that. We are hoping and believing that our strategies being laid and educating the people will really help to drastically reduce stigma and discrimination in every aspect of our health system and in our federation at large.
Mr. Cruikshank, are you able to give us some figures from the other countries?
Yeah, especially the regional stats. How are we looking?
Yes, I can tell you that. So across the Caribbean, we have 330,000 persons, and estimated, and these numbers are estimated numbers. We have across the region 330,000 persons who are living with HIV, and that is as of 2021 data, the end of 2021, and that is the statistics that we get from UNAIDS. Now, in some interesting data that we are looking at is that, so for example, in St. Kitts, I think you would have reached about 95% of estimated persons living with HIV who know their status. So that's a positive. Where we have some drop off is the people who know their status and what they've done about it. So it's important to know your status, and it's something that we push. Know your status, because if you know, you can act on it. What happens when people know is a different thing, because again, as was alluded to in the earlier conversation, the issues around stigma and discrimination and anxieties and fear about using, whether it is a public system or any system, and people becoming aware of your status cause people not to move forward once they know. So there's a drop off from the number of persons who know to the number of persons who are actually on treatment. And then what you find is that the best results you can get is to become what we call virally suppressed. When you're virally suppressed, your risk of transmitting the virus to somebody else is extremely low to nil. And so that's where we want to get everybody. If you're not on treatment, you can never get to viral suppression. So what we are trying to do is to push people to get on treatment and to get to viral suppression. We see a significant fall off across the Caribbean in those numbers relative to those people who test. We're seeing some improvements over the last couple of years because treatment, as you know, is now widely available. There is a lot of effort that has been pushed into getting people on treatment, and we are, especially during COVID, that entire HIV programs across the region were reconfigured to get people into treatment because of the complications that were expected if somebody became ill with COVID. So there was a big push to get people on treatment, and we are seeing some improvements in the numbers based on that effort. We still, however, when we go to certain key population groups, we still have problems accessing them, getting them to come in and test, and getting them on treatment. Those groups are what we call the vulnerable populations or the key populations. They are at higher risk for HIV, but they are the ones who are least likely to come into care and to engage with the care system. So we have some work to do because their stigma is not just stigma for HIV, but stigma associated with them being part of that marginalized group, whether it is men who have sex with men, sex worker, transgender persons, persons who use drugs, or even migrant populations. So we have a lot more work to do to reduce the stigma related to those population groups and get them to come and test and get them to enter care and stay in care. So those are significant issues that we have to grapple with as we move forward with our HIV responses across the region.
Yeah,
Wow.
in adding to that, really, for the fact that we've combating and doing our best to see how we can really motivate people extrinsically to get virally suppressed, taking the medication, and some persons are really lacking behind to really do that. And some persons say, hey, I'm exposed to this, so I'm going to spread it out, I'm going to give it to people, I'm not the only one going to die. However,
Which is a crime, by the way.
Yes, and that is really, really wrong, because if you are HIV positive, your viral load is up there, and you are thinking of spreading it to other persons. If you are exposed to somebody, you're intimate with somebody that is also HIV positive, it bumps up your own viral load, which makes no sense. It puts you closer to it. So it's best that you get tested, get treatment, be involved in the treatment. We can't force any treatment on anybody. We can only encourage you that we have the treatment. It's available. It's accessible. And the thing about it is that most other countries, bigger countries, you have to pay for this, and if it's available and accessible and it's free. Why not you grab this thing and let's all work together to mitigate the spread of the infection,
And I'm glad you say that, because I remember back in the day when they said HIV, it was like a death sentence, right? And I always remember Magic Johnson, because I remember when he was diagnosed and it became public. I was still in primary school. That was years ago. And he's still with us today. So you can see that it works, right? You can see that it works.
I think because when HIV and AIDS came on the scene, it came in such a drastic way in which it came with a lot of fear, a lot of uncertainty. And I don't think persons who lived during that time are still over that whole embrace, that whole introduction, so to speak.
The trauma that comes with it, just like during COVID. When COVID came, it was a drastic thing, that affected, everybody, and we all were still working on getting more information about, COVID. However, yes, there have been traumatic effect when it comes to HIV, but science have been have advanced so much now that medication can keep you, as she rightly indicated. He's still alive, and you can live, when you know your status, you're on medication, you can live a long, productive life. In fact, in St. Kitts and Nevis, we have achieved prevention of mother-to-child transmission. In other words, if a mother is infected, that child can actually be delivered without being infected.
Awesome.
So it's an amazing thing to really say that we can have a productive, continuous life.
Okay, it's 9:29. Mr. Cruikshank.
Yes, if you guys have any final words.
So if you can wrap up in 20 seconds or less for both of you. So Mr. Cruikshank first.
Yeah. So my word to everybody on in the federation is: look, know your status. Get tested. Know your status. And if once you know your status, get on treatment. Find your your nearest treatment site. Get support. Talk to somebody. It is not the end of the world. It is actually the beginning of a new journey for you and something that you can do productively.
Awesome. Dr. Alfred.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I want to use the opportunity to say it. We are available. We are accessible. Come get tested. You can call. If you don't want to go to the health centers, you can come to the Ministry of Health and ask for Dr. Ofri or Miss Lucine Pemberton Vaughan. You can reach us via 664-2737, 664-2737, or you can call my office line at 467-1234, 467-1234, and we'll be available to talk to you, to really help you to really attain a point of knowing your status. So thanks to everyone, and we hope that you talk to your family members, talk to your friends, talk to your loved ones, and let's work together to really mitigate the spread of this infection. Thank you.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you so much
Thank
for coming
you so much.
in today.
Thank you.
Guys, get
Thank you
tested,
for having
know your
us.
status.
Bye-bye.
Yes, have
No
a good
problem.
one today, Mr. Cruikshank. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cruikshank.
Okay, so it's 9:30. We've got another Zoom meeting coming up. And so we're going to go to the break and come back.
We're different. We're 98.9. 98.9. Win FM.
Hey kids, drink healthy.
Reduce sugar chubby with the same great taste. Lots of magic fruity flavors. Drink the more healthy way.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Be active, be healthy. Drink lots of chubby. Kicking football, playing cricket, having fun in the sun.
It's chubby.
Reduced sugar chubby keeps you cool and refreshed.
It tastes so yummy, chubby, chubby.
25% less sugar chubby. Jumping rope, running races, have fun.
It tastes so yummy, chubby.
Drink the more healthy way.
Fruta full of vitamin thing. Real fruit juice, not full of vitamin. Pop open the goodness, just dive in. Fruta every night, fruta every morning.
It's the amazing taste and quality in fruit juice you've come to know and love. Anytime, anywhere, any occasion. Fruta is your tastier, better, healthier choice.
We got the vibes, fruta. Real nice, fruta.
And for the families, remember to pick up the 1 liter.
And we have another segment coming up. It's 9:32. And so we've got Aaron Manners, Director of the Public Sector Investment Program. And that's going to be coming up. And then we also have Kevin Hope. He's a consultant. And Cosworth Woods. I think Cosworth Woods will be on Zoom. He's a UN resident coordinator in the Ministry of Sustainable Development.
So
yeah, we're back on Island Tea.
And we are all prepped for another segment.
Yeah, another, guest.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
So
yes.
This segment is about the Ministry of Sustainable Development and the voluntary national report to the UN. So we have in studio with us Aaron Manners, And I think we should have two persons online.
Yeah, they're
isn't
online.
it?
We have Cuthbert Woods and Kevin Hope.
All right. So
Yes.
good morning, everyone. Welcome to Island Tea. And do you want to take a couple of minutes and introduce yourself, Mr. Manners?
Yes, good morning.
Title and everything.
Good morning, everyone. So, I'm the Director of Public Sector Investment Planning in the Ministry of Sustainable Development. As Candice said, we're responsible for the monitoring of the Sustainable Development Goals, and we're here to talk about that this morning.
Awesome. And Mr. Woods, good morning. Feel free to introduce yourself.
Confirming that you can hear me?
Yes, we
Yes.
can. It's a little bit low,
Yeah,
but
perhaps you could adjust the microphone just a little, the volume just a little bit up.
Okay, I'll do that.
hello?
Okay, everyone on Zoom,
Yeah,
if you,
well,
if you can
I'll
crank your audio as
project
much
my
as
voice
possible.
in the meantime. Yes, good morning, everyone. Cuthbert Woods. I am the UN Country Coordination Officer for St. Kitts and Nevis, attached to the UN Resident Coordinator's Office for Barbados and the Eastern Caribbean.
All right.
Awesome, great.
UN Country Coordination Officer and not UN Resident Coordinator. That's actually my boss's title, so I do.
Hey, maybe it's a promotion in store.
Yes, yes.
And Mr. Hope?
Good morning, colleagues, and also good morning, listening audience. I'm Kevin Hope, the National SDG Consultant to the Ministry of Sustainable Development, and thank you for having us.
Awesome. So we have a full
Yes, we have a
cast
full
today.
house, yes.
So tell us, who would you like to go first? Tell us what this whole program is about, because I've read a little bit of the report. I haven't gotten very far, I confess, but your T-shirt kind of helps quite a bit.
Yes, we've been using the T-shirts to sell the SDGs. It wasn't part of the idea in the beginning, but along the way we had a graphics designer who came up with the design, and so we're trying to push that
Eureka.
through the schools, because we see the young persons as a means to get the message out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yes.
All right, so SDGs, Sustainable Development
Goals.
And so what are some of those goals?
There's 17 goals. So these were established in 2015, agreed by all United Nations countries that we would seek to achieve these goals as part of our development agenda. So we have goals ranging from 1, which is no poverty, to 2, 0 hunger. It goes right down the line to peace and security, 16, and also 17, partnership. So I can't name all of them. Hopefully we'll get a chance to speak about them as we go.
Well, I'm cheating as we go because I'm pulling some of them off of your your T-shirt.
Yes.
So I was confused as to what the Venn diagram was, but integration.
And the shirt is circular because the SDGs are interlinked. So even though there's 17 of them, they're all related to each other. And so we don't look at them just in isolation. They're all cross-linked, right?
Right.
So the report that we did, that exercise went back since last year. For the past year, we've been meeting with different stakeholders in civil society, the private sector, government, and Nevis, to find out what they have been doing to achieve the different sustainable development goals. And that is what the report outlines. And so the report is available, where we are about to publicly disseminate it to everyone so that the country can get an appreciation. So the achievement of the SDGs is not just the job of the government, right? So we want to make sure that communities and everyone plays a role, right?
All right. So, Mr. Woods, how do you fit in?
Good question. Well, essentially, as the UN's support on the ground, I work very closely with the government stakeholders and the various UN agencies, funds, and programs. So I sort of operate as an interlocutor between my office, the Resident Coordinator's Office, the various government agencies and the agencies, funds, and programs. And I mean, it's intrinsic in the name. The role has a lot to do with coordination, and various UN agencies would have provided support, both technical and financial support in terms of executing this exercise, particularly the agency UN ECLA. They were the one that provided funding to undertake the voluntary national review. And I've been working closely with them in terms of the coordination of activities on the ground, helping with the consultations, facilitating some of the sessions and basically providing support between the agencies and the national stakeholders. So it's more of a coordination role, and I work closely with Mr. Manners and his team and the consultant.
Right.
Okay.
And
Kevin?
so, right.
Well, so my role really was to lead a number of the consultations with different stakeholder groups. So during the period November 2021 to last month, we've met with over 40 stakeholder groups across Nevis and St. Kitts within the public and private sector, civil society, and non-government organizations. I think the most recent group we concluded was at the Youth Forum that was held with the UN Country Office and the Ministry of Youth. And I would say that these consultations really help, not only in helping to raise awareness of the SDGs among stakeholders, but also to get their perspective and assessment as to where they feel we are with respect to achieving these goals and these targets within the 17 SDGs.
Oh, and so I'm glad you actually said Ministry of Youth, because that was going to be my next question. And I hope anybody can jump in here. You said 40 something stakeholders. Are you able to give more information as to who some of these stakeholders were, or who you guys felt it was important to reach out to?
Well, just I'll let Cosworth speak more about this, but just 2 weeks ago, we had a forum with the youth where we brought persons 30 and under together for them to express their views on the SDGs, and that is captured in the report. So youth is definitely, one of them. But I think Nevis, was an important stakeholder, because sometimes we talk about, development initiatives, and the conversation doesn't get to Nevis as much as it should. So going over to Nevis, we were able to, meet with the Premier and also have specific stakeholder consultations with Nevis stakeholders. That was very important. We also met with the cabinet here in St. Kitts. And as I said, it was just across civil society in both St. Kitts and Nevis, the private sector. Moving forward, we'd like to expand the consultations as we do future voluntary national reviews. So stakeholders who are marginalized in society and may not have a voice, it could be the Rastafarian community, it can be, people with disabilities. We're trying to expand the net as much as possible because the theme of the SDGs is to leave no one behind. And so that has to mean Nevis, it has to mean persons with vulnerabilities, the Rastafarians, everyone.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting. And now I know why Azard and I were not in that youth forum. But so, Mr. Woods, you've been given the task.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, well, just a point of clarification on a question that you threw back. I think Mr. Hope was indicating that there were 40 stakeholder groups, as opposed to, so it wasn't 40 individuals, but 40 stakeholder groups that we would have engaged to garner information for the report. But I mean, to touch on the youth forum, again, part of the role of the UN Resident Coordination Office to reduce inequalities and increase the voice of all stakeholders, particularly those that tend to be left behind. So whether we're speaking about the youth, elderly, persons with disabilities, and persons that fall within those categories, we make a concerted effort both within the work that we do at the UN and through this particular consultative exercise for the VNR to ensure that we had an opportunity to engage all of those stakeholder groups. The Youth Forum was something that, we thought would be very critical to get the voice of the youth, particularly as they are our future, and they are the generation that brings a lot of creativity, ingenuity, innovation to the table as we try to find creative ways of executing the Sustainable Development Goals. So we've deemed it to be critical to have an engagement with them. So we brought them together from various youth groups and organizations. So we tried to be different instead of going straight to the schools, but also to target the youth groups and organizations, whether it was sports clubs, leadership clubs like Skanaipa, clubs that involved with creativities and so forth, and brought them to the table to have a discussion on the Sustainable Development Goals. We worked on 9 goals in particular that the youth would have identified that were of extreme importance to them. And we had discussions where we did polls to gather their input and their perspectives in terms of whether the targets for the respective goals were being met, and what could be done to address some of the issues impeding implementation of these goals. And then following that interactive forum, we concluded the session with a panel discussion where we had 5 panelists and a moderator speaking on the SDGs in the context of the 5 pillars in which they fall, which are people, planet, prosperity, partnerships, and peace.
Nice.
Not necessarily in that order, but those are the 5.
Yeah. But can I ask, what are those goals that the youth thought were important to them?
Matters to do with good health and well-being, quality education, gender equality, climate change as well, peace and security, partnerships, and clean water and sanitation.
Based on all the goals that are there, which ones are the ones that we're closest to accomplishing?
Maybe Kevin can take that.
I'll let the consultant respond to that.
Both of you threw him under the bus.
No, he's the expert.
I mean, this is the capacity that he would have worked.
Yes, correct.
So
yes,
I think he would be best posed to respond to that question.
Because I've been hearing all about these sustainable goals all the time.
So how close are we to achieving them, Mr. Hope?
So I like Wickos, but to answer the question, it's important for the public to appreciate that the 17 goals could be placed on the 5 principles of the agenda, what we call the 5 Ps. So people, which encapsulate goals number 1 to 5. So it looks at ending poverty and hunger, ensuring all persons everywhere have access to good health and quality education, ensuring that there's dignity and equality for all, including gender. With respect to people, we have done reasonably well and are on target for meeting the goals as at 2030. We just need to accelerate the implementation of a number of initiatives, right? With respect to prosperity, which speaks to goal 7, which actually speaks about access and affordable energy. Goal 8, economic growth and decent work. Goal 9, that speaks to infrastructure and innovation. Goal 10, reduce inequality. Goal 11, sustainable cities. So under prosperity, it speaks, as I said, where we want to ensure all citizens have access to prosperous and fulfilling lives in harmony with nature. And with respect to these goals, we are similarly on target, but needs to obviously step up the ante in terms of implementing projects and ensuring that there is sustainability. Note that we have had to date a number of hazards, especially the COVID-19 pandemic, which could derail our progress, in addition to the risk of our ever-present enemy being in terms of hurricane and natural hazards. But notwithstanding these 2 areas we have done well with, we have seen improvements in peace when we look at it over a long period, And again, obviously, those initiatives need to be sustained, continued, evaluated. And we've done pretty well with respect to partnerships in terms of both civil society, the private sector, our regional and international partnerships in trying to attract resources to implement the goal. The area for which in St. Kitts and Nevis we are sort of falling behind and for which there are a number of initiatives to accelerate is really around planets. How are we protecting St. Kitts and Nevis natural resources, and also in terms of our response in building climate mitigation and adaptation for our future generation? And herein lies opportunities. So while we see we're falling behind, herein lies opportunities for our policymakers, our partners and others for us to collaborate and ensure that we could not only sustain the social and economic progress, but we could actually address a number of the environmental sustainability issues.
Yeah, I just would like to follow up on what the youth said about Planet. They believe that the youth have to be at the policy-making table because they don't have enough information about climate change and how it impacts St. Kitts and Nevis. They propose backyard gardening as a good solution to addressing issues related to agriculture. And they pointed out that the mentality to reduce and reuse already exists in the Federation because one of them pointed out we take back bottles to the brewery, for example. And so we have to use that same mentality in regard to single-use plastics, for example, of that mentality of reusing things instead of just using them once. In regard to peace, the youth would have highlighted, there's been a recent uptick in crime. And so there was a discussion about, are these incidents targeted or are they not? And the impression was that, it doesn't really matter because even if the incidents are targeted, they affect all of us in terms of feeling safe in society.
And it's still counted as crime, so it doesn't differentiate.
Exactly. And the report actually points out that crime reduced over the past 10 years in terms of St. Kitts and Nevis, which is true. So, but the young persons honed in on the recent, some recent incidents and the importance of the society feeling free from fear at all times. They also pointed out the importance of national institutions such as the Office of the Ombudsman, and these institutions have to be in place in order for the society to function properly. They commended the efforts to bring the Rastafarian community into the fold. And finally, on the prosperity, they spoke about the issue of brain drain, where about 65% of our young persons migrate to the U.S. After studying. And they saw that as an issue, and that more creativity is needed in terms of our economic development to create jobs.
First off, you guys had a very good panel. That was quite interesting and intense data that you guys pulled from them.
Yes.
And I'm actually impressed to hear some of the things that they came up with and the way they put it over.
We're really trying to leverage the youth because that seems to be the channel.
And those suggestions would have been good. The ombudsman, you listen to
use their phrase off the chain.
Yes.
One of the things that you guys mentioned was the issue with the planet, especially with climate change being an issue and this crazy temperatures that we're living with right now. But were you guys able to tap into the way the recycling has been working? Because I know there's been a big campaign where recycling is concerned, and I often pass by and see the little collection area, and then we recently started the No Plastic Bag Monday.
Yes.
So do you guys have any data on how that is working?
Luckily that falls under our ministry, which is the Ministry of Sustainable Development, Environment and Climate Action, which is just next door, and they have been really pushing the agenda for single-use plastics, as well as there's a project with the Taiwanese where they have introduced a recycling plant in Nevis, and also, there are bins and things going around about us moving towards separating our waste and recycling. I mean, there's really no reason why at this point we shouldn't have already taken these steps. But the important point, it is being done. As Kevin said, this is an area on the planet in general, climate change, recycling, that we are falling behind on.
Right. Because
Yes.
that's why I emphasize, because I noticed that was one of the areas that he said, unfortunately, we're kind of lagging, falling
Yes.
behind in that specific area. Do we have a plan going forward to attack it?
Well, just some quick statistics. According to the report, each person generates 1.67 kilograms of waste per day, but we have 95% access to waste management services in St. Kitts, which is good. It's just that we're not recycling. And in terms of a plan, we are currently working with institutions such as the ROC, as I said, Taiwan, and also the Green Climate Fund to roll out programs, a more structured program for waste management and recycling.
Wow. Do we have any data showing like a comparison? Because I feel like in St. Kitts we're a little bit competitive. So if we know that another country is doing better, we're definitely gonna pull up our socks. Do we have any of that information at hand, Mr. Woods,
I'll leave
Mr.
that
Hope,
to Mr.
anybody?
So yes, the reports actually have data that shows comparative analysis. Where are we in St. Kitts and Nevis relative to our counterparts in the Caribbean, in Latin America and the Caribbean, in other advanced and developing countries? So for example, when Mr. Manis speak about the level of waste generation in St. Kitts and Nevis of around 1.6, 1.7 kilogram, when we compare this to the global average and Latin America and the Caribbean, you're talking about 0.99 kilogram in Latin America and the Caribbean versus 1.6 kilogram in St. Kitts and Nevis. So what this is saying is that relative to the global average, this is a grade that we don't want to be outperforming in, or we're producing more waste for our small size relative to our counterparts globally. And even if it's the case that we're generating more waste, it's incumbent upon us to assess how could we create a sort of circular type of system, the whole circular economy approach of ensuring what may be waste on one hand could be inputs into creating other productive use. So we applaud initiatives and the collaboration with the Republic of China, Taiwan, in coming on board for us to start thinking about recycling. But again, as a people, now herein lies the opportunity which we see initiatives being taken by the government with respect to building awareness. And this is part and parcel why we have this report, to show where are we relative to the goals, where are we relative to our partners, and the actions we need to take if we want to reduce, on one hand, the waste generation or the impact of the waste generation, while at the same time preserve some of the gains we've made socially and economically.
Wow. Now, is it that you guys have to approach persons, or is there room for persons to volunteer to push this agenda? How does it work?
Well, everyone can come on board. I mean, we certainly welcome. It's a whole of society approach. What that will exactly look like, we've been so busy preparing the report that we haven't, because what we're doing is we're preparing to travel to New York in about a week's time to the UN High-Level Political Forum. And that will be led by Honorable Conris Maynard as the head of delegation. And so a team will be going to present the findings of the report to the rest of the world. Wow. And so, as I said, this is a voluntary report. Several countries across the world have already done it. I think Grenada presented last year. We were actually supposed to present last year, but because of the elections, it was postponed. So all our efforts have been towards preparing for this presentation, and it will be aired, and we'll have some video media leading up to the event release about the SDGs. So that will be played on ZIZ. And so when we come back, that is when we will try to hone in on how to get persons more involved, whether through the schools or community groups, and see how we can get everyone involved.
Okay.
Fair enough. Well, guys, we're running out of time.
Yeah.
So I'd like to invite you guys to give any last words that you would want to at this point. Mr. Woods?
Thank you. I just wanted to indicate that I think this exercise was very crucial. And having gotten an opportunity to take a little longer to do a deeper dive and more consultations, I think was quite beneficial, because we were actually preparing to make the presentation last year, but I think it came around the time when we were in election mode. So, we weren't able to proceed to do the presentation of the voluntary national review. So we had to postpone it to this year. We got some additional time to do some more consultations, and I think it was quite effective and beneficial, particularly the type of engagement that we had in Nevis. One thing that I think was very instrumental with the exercise is that if you go online and you go to, let's say, the SDG scorecard website and you look for information on St. Kitts and Nevis, you can see basically sort of like a snapshot of how St. Kitts and Nevis is doing based on information that would have been provided. And what you would see is that there are a lot of the goals, the SDGs, where no information was generated or no information would have been submitted, right? So that information is blank in terms of it would record as no information. But coming out of this exercise that we did over the last, I guess you can say 2 years, we found a lot of information to indicate that work is actually ongoing in several of the SDGs for which information would not have been made available. So I think coming out of this exercise is critical that we get the opportunity, or the government gets the opportunity, to present what St. Kitts and Nevis has been doing on the world stage, and that we can make a more concerted effort to ensure that this information is provided so that when anybody seeks to get an update in terms of what's happening in regards to SDG implementation in St. Kitts and Nevis, they would have access to more up-to-date information. And lastly, in regards to the question you raised about what can the general public do to get more involved in SDG implementation, the SDGs are universal. So the goals apply to everybody, every nation, every sector, at the city level, businesses, schools, organizations. So everybody has a role to play. And the goals are also integrated. So you cannot seek to achieve one goal individually. There has to be a collective and an interconnected system in terms of approaching the acceleration and implementation process. So post the Vienna exercise, I think, we're looking forward to continuing the engagement and bringing more stakeholders involved to further the process as we move towards 2030.
Awesome. Thank you. Mr. Hope?
Well, we do have a National Sustainable Development Coordinating Committee. And similar to what Mr. Wood said, it's really, on one hand, operationalizing the committee to continue the good work that they've done. On the other hand, also onboarding other stakeholders like yourself, the media, in becoming more informed and intimate with what these goals are, so we could continue to shine a light in those areas that we're doing well, in addition to obviously challenge and encourage room for improvement in the areas that need strengthening. All in all, this last 2 years of engagement, I think I need to applaud all of the stakeholders, the youth, those within the ministries, departments, and agencies, the private sector, the non-government organization, the churches. Everyone played a role. They actively participated. I was entirely pleased with the inputs we got from Nevis. And now it's our opportunity to show our light where we're at and continue to contribute meaningfully to St. Kitts and Nevis development.
Perfect.
Great.
This has been quite an interesting interview, and I can't get over your shirt.
Yes.
Do you have any last
well, I
words
would
for our
just
public?
encourage persons to get their shirt. First of all, they are available for sale. We may have some free ones to give out to the schools. But, it's part of the effort, and we'd like persons to join the effort. So get your shirts. I would encourage persons to tune into the presentation on July 18th at 10:30 a.m., where we will formally present the report to the rest of the world. And so, and also disseminate the report. We encourage persons to read the content and find out what St. Kitts has been doing to achieve the Sustainable Development Goals. And the Ministry of Sustainable Development will reach out to you, as Kevin said, through the National Sustainable Development Committee that we're launching to bring everyone into the fold. And so, yes, we will be following up. Thank you.
Awesome. And thank you for
Thank
choosing
you, gentlemen,
Island Tea, guys.
so much
Yes.
for participating in this and for all the hard work that you've done. And like Azard said, thank you for choosing Island Tea to help disseminate this information. I hope everyone has an awesome day today. Be safe out there.
Yes.
Yes, same.
Take
Okay.
good care, colleagues.
Thank
and
you
thank you
very
for the
much.
opportunity.
Thank you.
Yes.
you.
So to our audience, join us tomorrow for another session of Island Tea.
Island Tea.